This time we get to try out our new 1.5" electronic valve. Cold and wet day today. The high today, it's going to be about 40 degrees. Good day to play with the hydro. A bit dark in here, but we now have a door coming into the hydro. The windows are still, I actually had to order those, still waiting for those to come in. And we'll walk down here to the hydro where we have an inverter running. We have a little light in here. It's an LED 120 volt lamp. And the noise you hear is that rain in that plastic back there. Another window will be going in there. I'm not sure if this sensor got fried on that last episode. The pressure is showing a reading. Now there is a 0 setting on that. Not sure if it's that or if the sensor is fried. I'll put the pressure on and see if it climbs. If it climbs, that's a good sign. Yeah, okay. The valve just hit to run. Now the valve didn't open because this is a 24 volt valve, so I'm cheating it with this battery here. So it should open as soon as I connect this here. And it didn't. And the reason for that is that we're going into a lockout mode because the generator voltage didn't kick on as expected. I'll change that in my settings and we'll lower that so it doesn't become an issue because it's going to read it through the MOSFETs from the battery. That should be plenty. That shouldn't give us an error there. So now it should be fine. Now we just got to exit out of here. And to reset it, we hit this button here and that should reset it. And there it goes. Okay, shutting down. It says low PSI. All right, now we went into an alarm. See, our PSI dropped to 0. So it shut right down and it gave us another, this is a lockout saying that the pressure dropped and it shouldn't have dropped. And it dropped because our valve's not all the way open. So we got to open that up and try it again. And since it was an alarm, it's not going to reset on its own. We have to reset it. Now that should kick it on. I just forced the valve to shut off and give me a low pressure. Now I can try to see what we can get running it through here. See how much power we lose. This is where it failed me last time. The power supply I had built for this unit was not capable of handling the high spikes from the generator. So I have implemented a few features in there, so hopefully it'll survive this time. Now we have a low pressure warning. It's not a lockout because just there's no water pressure. Our pressure is too low, it's not high enough. So I'm going to open up the water, allow the pressure to kick on as soon as the pressure reaches power. Okay, hold on baby, don't die on us. And according to that, it's 140 watts. That 135 according to this one. That's running through the MOSFETs and my amp sensor. Okay, now I can test some of the other functions of this electronics. to see how they perform. I have an ability to be able to adjust the PWM through the MOSFETs according to either RPM, voltage, or amperage. I'm going to try to set it right now to a different RPM. To do that, I'm going to run to my, I call it MPPT, which is not. And right now it's on set. It's a fixed value, which is 5,000, which is fully on the MOSFETs. Now I'm going to switch it to RPM mode, fix, volt, RPM. Yeah, I just noticed that my Windows is all messed up. I got go into initial settings. This is all new electronics, and there's a initial setup that I did not complete. So I'm going to try to reset that and see what the default value is for that. So I just damaged the system again, but this time was due to shutting off the power without first shutting off the hydro. That allows the hydro to generate 130 volts, which was being fed to the unit. As soon as I disconnect the battery from the circuit, the generator becomes the battery. So I have to incorporate something in the circuit in case something happens with the battery, the breaker blows or something, and the battery is cut from the system. Hopefully the safety features are incorporated in this one, saved the rest of the electronics. The damage for this trip wasn't that bad. It was only this Zener diode and my voltage regulator. Besides replacing the two damaged components, I have added a generator disconnect when not charging and if something goes wrong. But that wasn't the only thing that failed that day. My brand new valve failed just after 4 cycles. So there's no way I was going to buy the same brand. So I chose this one, which I have cycled over 30 times on the bench. So now let's go to the following videos and see how well it performs. For my first test, I am going to run it straight like I used to do it before, using my old gauge, and to compare it when I run it through here to see how much power I'm losing through my MOSFETs here and also my relays. First of all, I'm going to activate this so I can open the valve and leave it open for that test. So I'm just going to hook it up to a small battery I have right here. This is low PSI. It's saying that the pressure's at 56, so I'm gonna have to open it up a little bit, bring it up to 60. Above 60 is 56, so. All right there, brought it up to 65. My default is to not allow it to function if the pressure is below 60. Now the valve's open, I'm gonna disconnect it before it cuts off my water, because it's going to sense that I have no water pressure, and then it's going to shut it off again. So I just disconnected it. Now the valve's fully open and my main valve is closed. I'm going to apply power to my old electronics and see how much power we can get out of it. Once I establish that point, I won't touch that valve anymore to do my other tests with my electronics. Okay, that battery is at 12.2. Don't really have to tighten them too much. The sanitary fittings are pretty good, so it should be all right there. Do it again. We're on knuckle B, and I'll try to keep that to see if we can get a little more out of that. We're running 141, slightly over that, and we'll leave it a little bit and see what the average is. My pressure is about 36. Well, I can never get that to seal. It's always leaking just like that. No matter how many times I wrap Teflon around that. I go on as much as 8 turns, and it always leaks on me. I have to always end up putting a combination of both the Teflon tape and my paste. You just have to run it a few minutes. Okay, restarting. Let's open the valve. Okay, disconnect it again. Now I'm gonna wire it up to this one, running my generator voltage through it. So let's hope it holds together this time. I have incorporated things to make it idiot proof. In case I do that accidentally or something happens where I lose battery power to it, it'll automatically shut it off. So hopefully my added safety on the electronics will make it survive this time. Let me wire it up and we'll give it a try. We got valves closed, main valves open, and we have everything hooked up. This is hooked up to run the generator power right through here and then up to the batteries. It's also running through my test gauge over there, the one that I've been using since day one for comparison. That measures the current on the negative side of the generator here. This one does it on the positive side. So let me power it up and see what it does. Now, what it should do is go through its steps. If the pressure is good enough, it should kick on, as long as my charge parameter is set. Now, I set it quite high, so it should kick in after a 10-second delay. 65.5, the pressure according to this one. We'll give it a few minutes and see where the power settles. Right now we're running about 8 watts less. We're going at 10 amps. It is set up for 12 volts at 140 watts. Yeah, the pressure here is running really close to my cutoff, which I could set from here. My cutoff voltage, low pressure alarm is 30, so I should probably lower that. And minimum pressure is 60. So it's not going to start charging unless the water pressure is at least 60 psi. So that one's okay. But this one's a little on the close side to where it's going to quit on us. So right there we got, say, it's 31.2, and it's going to go into alarm if it hits 30. My actual pressure is a little higher, actually 37. Yeah, we're losing a few watts, just like on the Midnight Classic. We are losing power through the electronics. I also added a on-off function here, so I can go on here and turn it off. There it goes. Let's hope it survives that high voltage there. All right, I'm going to cause it to shut down when it starts by blocking the flow, so the pressure is going to drop below 30. All right, so the pressure 65 is going to kick on. Should shut off because my pressure is dropping below 30, so it should go into shutdown. Oh boy, something popped. I don't like the sound of that. Did my electronics that popped? But something popped. I heard something pop there. Yeah, I'm getting a little water hammer. I might have to slow this down a bit. So right there I went into lockout mode, indicating low pressure. And that's because I did it on purpose. Actually, I left the valve half open so it would do that. Now I heard something pop here, so I'm not sure what it was. The pressure indicator seems to be working. If I shut it off completely here, my water valve, and release the pressure, let's see, it should indicate my pressure drop right there. Yeah, see, so it's working. That's not what popped, but something popped there. I heard something snapped in there. The gauge seems to be okay also, but it did jump all the way up to 100, because it is closing a little faster than I would like. So what I wanted to do is go back to this one here, put this in amps, and I want to be able to hold this. Let's say there says it's 1.5 amps, but I'm going to set it to 9 amps and see if the MOSFETs hold together. To 9, yeah, 9 amps. All right, and then we'll go back to our home screen. And all I'm gonna do right here is bring the pressure back up. Okay, pressures are back up to 65 according to that, 70 according to my mechanical gauge. So now by resetting that, it will things run. So see if it holds together, and it holds it at 9, what we set it to. So there it is, holding at 9 amps. This one here now is telling me exactly where the PWM is at. The scale is from 0 to 5,000. I'll check the MOSFETs in a little bit, see how hot they get after I run it for about 10 minutes. So right there, yeah, it's holding right at 9 amps. It's doing nicely. The RPMs, you can see, is 425. My power output obviously is less. I put every function I could imagine in here, except a true MPPT. This is just a PWM controller. But I wanted to see if I could charge the battery and be able to control the amp going to the battery and also my voltage. I can also set my PWM to regulate voltage. I can also do it to regulate RPM. Since the batteries are so far away, my wires are not thick enough. It is pushing the shut off again. So I'm going to just shut it off here. Okay, I just shut off the my controller here because the issue that's going on right there, there's a couple of issues. My batteries are not that good. So they're pushing it up to my charge voltage too quickly. That's my setup screen. So I go on here on my charge screen, and I have it set to start charging at 12.8, which is not low enough. And here, and charge at 14.4. So if I look at my current battery voltage, it's 12.4, so it's going to start charging at that. So I'm going to set that. See, now it's down to 12.3 because I'm running the inverter also. Again, my batteries are actually need to be replaced. So I'm going to change the charge start voltage at 12.2 and set that to 12.2, so it starts at 12.2. That way, and there's also the cycle delay that I can change. All right, 12.2 is my start of a charge. Here I can change this delay. Right now it's set to 10 seconds. That's the delay between a cycle. I can change that value so it doesn't kick on for whatever seconds or minutes I want. So we'll continue, and I'll put it back on. Well, let me see if I do this right. Okay, there we go. Now let's exit out of here. Right now it says low voltage. It's in lockout mode. We ended up with an error there. That error in lockout mode means that my generator voltage wasn't high enough, and it messed up. So let's reset it here with my right button. So I'm going to start charging because the battery voltage is too low. The cycle should be a little longer between on and off. So as soon as this gets to 14.4, I believe is what we had it at, it's going to shut off. Okay, low pressure. Alarm. Okay. See, we're all the way up to 108 psi. So it's going up way above this gauge. My little gauge is only good for 100. It's not going to start charging because we have it set to start at 12.2. So it's going to be, it's going to stand by. Yeah, pressure's still moving around. I'm going to check the MOSFETs to see how they're doing while we wait. There's only one screw holding it at the moment. Yeah, and they're totally cool. And they're just a small heat sink in there for the MOSFETs. And it's completely cold. There's nothing, no temperature. So far, it's been surviving. I got a little heat here from my voltage regulator, which is fine. This is a 12-volt system right now. Final one would be a 24. This valve is doing pretty good. At least it survived more than the other one. As we saw on the other one over and survived 4 cycles before the gears broke in it. We're now on a standby mode, waiting for a charge cycle. Battery keeps dropping down to 12.4 on that one, 12.5 on my other one. I am running a small 1000 watt inverter right now to power my light. And that's on its own just draining the 3 batteries that I have. So they're definitely no good. They're going on 5 years now, those batteries. So they're due to be replaced. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bypass the MOSFETs and let it run the way I like it to run, which is automatically charged to a certain level and cut off. That's easy to do. All I got to do is just not run the generator through here. So I'll change those wires around and then go and restart it. So let's turn it on and see what it does. Alright, so my current is back up, my power is back up. So this system is basically going to run to help the solar panels and do the bulk charging. And then I'll have a nice charge controller on my solar panels to do the fine tuning and the tweaking of my batteries. But this is just going to be like an assistant to it. And I don't want the water running when I don't need to. We're getting close to our charge condition, which is I think we have set to 14.4. All right, should be shut down shortly. There it goes. We're hitting about 110 psi with the water hammer here. So it'd be nice if I get this to shut down a little slower. That'll surely be kicking on again and cycling. I'm going to turn off my inverter to allow the batteries to recover a bit. Yeah, this worked out okay. Okay, here it goes. Yeah, the final unit will have pressure. So I definitely have to monitor my pressure because I want to be able to shut it down in case the water line gets clogged or something happens where my pressure is not within the parameters. So I will have pressure and battery voltage. Running at 144, yeah, it's definitely a lot nicer. It's 144 watts. It's definitely better without running through the MOSFETs. It's running pretty good. And it thinks it's charged now. That's why I shut it down again. You see my voltage is up to, it was up to 14 something. mosses are definitely causing some power loss, so it's something that won't be implemented in my final product. There's going to be two. One is going to be the one that simply turns the valve on and off for normal use. And then there's going to be another with a screen for my test. When I do tests, I'm able to track my RPMs, amperage, and wattage and voltages all in one screen, and not to have all the different screens that I have. Yes, we'll see if I decide to go with RPMs or pressure. I think pressure is the one I like the most, just monitoring the pressure to make sure that nothing goes wrong. And if it does, have it cut out if my pressure starts dropping way too low, indicating that there's a problem with the intake. All right, well, this time the electronics survived, didn't go up in smoke. We were able to work out the few bugs. I have a few projects on the works. I have new nozzles and a new Pelton wheel that I need to test out. So this concludes this season, and I hope to see you here next time. It's about 180 feet to the intake. That's my standpipe.